Hello, everybody. So, earlier today, I was scrolling through this list, this Wikipedia list. It's a pretty dang long page, but it's a list of streetcar systems in the United States, old and still running. If we scroll down, we can see if we can find one. Here you go. There you go. You can find streetcar systems that either are no longer used. You can see just the amount of streetcar systems that were torn up in the United States, and you can see just a few that are still alive. Anyways, so as I was scrolling this page, pretty early on, I found an interesting piece of information. I found that the Alabama Power Company, at one point in time in Huntsville, Alabama, operated a steam and then electric railway. Very interesting. So, a streetcar system that was happening in Huntsville, Alabama, the city where I go to college. So, I wanted to take a little bit more look into this topic, and I found this article from 2010 on a page called Huntsville History Collection. Anyways, it contains some information about the streetcar lines that used to run through Huntsville. It contains some pictures of the summer streetcar, which means look at how open that is. I mean, it's super hot here, so you don't really need any kind of walls or anything for a climate such as this. You can see some streets in Huntsville, looking south on Alpine A Street from Holly Avenue, of the actual lines that used to live inside of Huntsville. You can also see the catenary wires up there. Anyways, and then I saw this picture, which I will enlarge here. I saw this picture, and it's actually a blown up map of the old Huntsville streetcar routes. And it's very, very, very small. I mean, listen, this city was very small when these lines were in. These lines, we don't know when they started in the city, but we know when they were torn out, and they were torn out in 1931. Anyways, so what I did is I mapped it in Google Earth. So this purple line here is what the streetcar route used to look like. A lot of the streets are very small nowadays and not as important as streets that parallel them. However, you can't really tell that there used to be a streetcar here. Sometimes in cities such as Minneapolis, such as St. Paul, other places I've been, you can tell where streetcars used to run. There's old infrastructure, there's different types of housing and old buildings that are preserved from that time. But in Huntsville, these whole lines, this whole place that this line used to be, is relatively not as developed in a way. The only buildings that I could probably say are from that time are the loop here. So if you ever wonder, if you go to Huntsville, why there are all these very densely developed row buildings and row houses that are on this little 2-block corner here, that's because the streetcar system used to make a loop in that location, and they all face inwards to the loop. It's a pretty interesting thing to figure out once you know the history of the streetcars. Anyways, and then the route would go north, and it would end up in residential neighborhoods, and there used to be a factory just in this location here. So that got me thinking, would it be possible to put a streetcar route in Huntsville today? In 2008, Obama funded a lot of streetcar routes, but I was wondering, since Huntsville is developing so fast, since there are lots of news articles and such in the local news and in the national news about Huntsville and its growth, what happens if we built a streetcar route for today? And this is what I came up with. This is very loose. I would just like to propose the idea. So our streetcar route kind of starts in the south here at Parkway Plaza, and it kind of serves all this commercial district down here. Obviously, this can all be redeveloped at one point. And then to avoid using this rail line, which serves this little warehouse over here, which could be a point of contact, we turn into a street that runs a little bit right here. We pass a high school, and we pass lots of residential. Now, this will probably be the biggest NIMBY zone of the streetcar route, and it can be changed in the future. Now, we take a left, and then we run into what I think could actually be a potential starting point or a potential positive point for the line. We run through all these low-density commercial and industrial areas of Huntsville. This is slightly southeast of the city center, And as we run in, we start to pass our first major destination. That's the southeast portion of the city that contains all these nice little neighborhoods in here. And it also contains Huntsville Hospital, which is pretty dang dense for a city such as Huntsville. Anyways, we're going to pass Huntsville Hospital and continue on our line here. It's the yellow line, if you're not noticing. Anyways, we pass on to a very common feature of this line, and that is that it runs along these streets which are just way too wide for a city such as this. I mean, what is this over here? That's 5 lanes for a regular street in the middle of a town. This street is being redone, so it's possible that it could be redone in the future because there's enough space here, and it's being redone for the construction of the new courthouse here. Anyways, we're moving along the courthouse, and we're coming into our first real area of high-density housing, which is this building here. A lot of the places back here where my mouse is also being converted into high-density apartment housing, or at least medium-density apartment housing. We also pass lots of surface parking lots, which are good opportunities for infill, transit-oriented development. We then go on to this street here, which splits Big Spring Park right in two, and I believe could be the biggest transformation for the city. Obviously, the Huntsville City Hall, the old City Hall, which I'm circling here, is slated to be demolished. And once that's demolished, this whole area will be turned into more of Big Spring Park. Now, if you could run some green tracks through this area, through the middle of the park, I think it could improve the park. Anyways, we're moving past some more medium to high density construction with a YMCA and office tower. And we also pass a lot of surface parking lots that could be converted into parking garages and other types of housing. We then, I in this case am cutting straight through this bank because I don't think it's very attractive, but if that bank is still interested in staying around, we could definitely bypass it using the street network. These streets are definitely wide enough to fit streetcar tracks in, let's just say that. And I honestly think it could be possible to give the streetcars a dedicated lane. Anyways, we turn here onto Holmes Avenue. And then on Holmes, we run into another major part of our line, and that's this front row Huntsville development that's going to be happening here. That's going to eventually house the tallest building in Huntsville and also house 2 more apartment buildings down here in a very nice mixed-use space. It's only a block or 2 walk to the Von Braun Center and the Probst Arena. Now, we're going to cross the levee here. We once again run into a ridiculously large surface parking lot that can all be turned into infill development, along with this big old highway interchange that could be reconfigured to create more housing. Now, the line then continues onto Holmes Avenue and runs past lots of old demolished buildings that could also be turned into transit-oriented development. If you see, a very common thing about this part of the line is that it's either nice neighborhoods or it's just empty places that could be definitely developed into more substantial areas and higher density areas. We're going to continue on here through these neighborhoods, and we're going to reach another big intersection here. This is Jordan Lane, and Jordan Lane I feel like could easily be converted using its ridiculous width to provide a little bit more pedestrian access and create a lot more access to the amazing international restaurants that are located along Jordan Lane. After passing Jordan Lane, we pass a few more blocks here, and then we enter the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Now, this is the university I attend, and I feel like Holmes Avenue that cuts directly through the campus could be transformed into a useful item on the university instead of a hindrance such as this crosswalk where students are hit often. Passing the university, we then turn right and on to Sparkman. And once again, we pass a just ridiculously large surface parking lot that could be used for infill development. Obviously, student housing, more offices for faculty, or labs could be built in this space. Next, we turn left into a new development area, which is called Executive Plaza. This is going to have a lot of mixed-use facilities as well as sports facilities for UAH. Almost this entire region here will be redeveloped in the near future. I give it probably 5 to 10 years if it happens, which I do hope it happens. Anyways, we're going to continue out of Executive Plaza and run just for a few more miles, maybe 1 mile, maybe 2 miles, and end up in Mid-City. And Mid-City, we could probably place a station or two in here. This is another place of Huntsville that is being rapidly developed into a mixed-use, walkable neighborhood with a lot of amazing projects happening. Another thing that is useful at the end here, we could have a one-station end that ends right at the Orion Amphitheater that contains lots of concerts and such. Anyways, that is my proposition for a streetcar line in Huntsville. I hope you enjoy. If you are looking to ride the old streetcar route, that would be most similar to Route 5 here on the Huntsville Current city buses. Now, I don't want to get into any of the economics or politics that could make or break this project. I'm just saying that the line is possible given enough will. So I hope this is an interesting idea, and I hope maybe some people from the Huntsville City Council will consider. Yeah, that's all. Have a nice day.